News, just $25,990. $25,990.
Back again on Southeast Texas Weekly with Democrat Godfrey Leggett, Republican David Bello. This matter of voter ID cards, more of a question of who is this person that is at the polling place? What are your views on it?
Well, I think Texas needs to push the State Republican Executive Committee, and at the convention, the Republican State Convention, Republicans have spoken and said, hey, we need to push this through. We need to know that people who vote are legal voters. I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants and felons and a lot of other people who aren't supposed to be voting who are going into our polling places and they're voting, and it's not right.
Is it partisan politics, Godfrey?
I don't see people going and voting when they shouldn't vote is a really big issue, but I don't think it happens that much, all right? But I kind of agree that we need to have a national ID, not a Texas ID card, because, again, just like with the immigration laws, you can't have a patchwork quilt all over the country. One ID card here, one ID card there. If we're going to do this, we ought to do it right, have a national ID card. Now, a lot of my fellow Democrats are dead set against that, but I'm sorry, they're wrong.
Quickly, the president has gone on The View, a credible source, a fine ABC product, no doubt.
I was going to say, it has to be a credible source. So.
Having said that, there are some critics who say the president is demeaning the office by going on a show of this sort. Godfrey Leggett, what do you think?
I don't see how that's possible.
It's not demeaning to the presidency.
It could be demeaning about it. It's a television show. It's exposure. I'm sure George Bush was on shows too, not The View necessarily, but other shows that might be conducive to him.
What do you make of the criticism? Is this much ado about nothing?
Well, no president has ever, sitting president has ever gone on a daytime television show while they're in office, and it has to do with basically you're the president. You need to be out there.
Presidential, as it were.
Presidential, yes. You're saying to be presidential.
You're saying Mr. Obama's not as presidential as you'd like?
Well, how many times did Bush go golfing and we slammed him? And we've got Obama who said he's not going to rest till the oil has been stopped, the oil leak, and he went golfing 3 times.
You know, before Franklin Roosevelt, no president went on television because there was no television. Okay, so things change, you know.
Well, it's not been on television.
New mediums, okay, but there's no reason why a president shouldn't go on a television show. I see no problem with that.
If he wants to go on,
if it was a Republican president,
if he wants to go on the news and have a press conference, this is what we're doing. Instead of having, let's all sit around and make jokes and kind of skirt the issues. The president needs to be direct. He needs to tell the people, this is what I'm doing. This is, what's going on. We don't need all of the watered-down politics of daily news shows.
Godfrey,
I'm not so sure if President John McCain went on The View, there'd be no problem with the Republicans.
Maybe with David Bello, perhaps. We don't know. Quick question. There has been criticism arise over Governor Perry's land deal in Horseshoe Bay, a resort area near Austin, northwest of Austin. It was a pretty good land deal. The governor made a substantial amount of money, roughly 4 times the amount that he paid at market for the land. He made a lot of money from it.
I don't think we have all the facts on that yet, but I'd say just from a first glance that Mr. Rangel is not the only one that has ethical problems.
Mr. Rangel is not the only one who has ethical problems. A reference to the 13 ethics charges against Democratic Congressman
Mr. Perry has problems
Charlie
too,
Rangel.
and he's got a lot more land problems than just his Horseshoe Bay. He's still got all those farmers mad at him for trying to absorb their farmland to put a highway, a NAFTA highway from Mexico up to North Texas.
Is this
very upset about that?
The lightning rod that actually gives gubernatorial hopeful Bill White a little legway here in this gubernatorial race?
Governor Perry, I think he's a great governor. He has made some mistakes. Not everyone is perfect. You're not going to agree with everybody 100%.
What were his mistakes?
Well, when he tried to do the vaccines, and whenever he did the Trans-Texas Corridor. But you know what? He reversed himself. He realized that this is not what the people wanted.
He reversed himself after he got huge public outcry over it.
But he responded to the public, and that's what our representatives should do. And
well, that's exactly what would help the immigration problem right now, is if everybody would talk to their congressman and senator and tell them what they want.
Well, we are, and they're not listening. So. And that's
People
why
tell me all the time, oh, I'm against this, I'm against that. Have you contacted your senator? Have you written to your congressman?
You know, they get inundated.
Well, of course.
Congressmen with faxes, with emails.
Emails, I don't bother sending emails to people. That's ridiculous.
We have been outspoken on things. Congress is not listening, and so yes, states have a right to protect themselves, but we're kind of getting off topic. With Perry, he's made some mistakes, but nothing that, I mean, my goodness, Bill White was part of an anti-gun group.
I don't have all the information.
I mean, this is Texas, so Bill White.
The jury is still out.
From Austin back to Washington, gentlemen, when we think of these Bush tax cuts that were going to expire, except for action from the White House, it makes us wonder if this administration really, down home here in Southeast Texas, if we really have the wherewithal to get by without keeping the tax cuts in place that we
never have made tax cuts to begin with. That was the beginning of our huge budget deficit. That's a fact. Republicans seem to think that somehow tax cuts magically pay for themselves. They don't. They're a total expense, and they deprive the government of money, so they increase your need to borrow. And you can look at the curves, and just as the moment that Bush made his tax cuts, boom, we're going in the red, and it's just a long downhill slide. It would be
your assessment then that we have too many tax cuts in this country?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you brought taxes back to where they were in 1987, these folks would really be screaming, because the rates were like 87% for the upper income bracket. 87%. Mm-hmm. So they got a real good tax rate right now.
Democrats say in general then allow them to expire.
Oh, absolutely. They should have never been there to begin with.
Remember when the president said, if you're during the campaign season, if you make less than $250,000 a year, you won't be taxed on anything. You won't be taxed on your sun tanning bed.
Well,
you won't be taxed on your health care.
I'm not for the suntan tax either, okay?
Well, here's what I see.
I don't like social engineering.
I disagree that we're in a deficit because we don't tax as much. We're in a deficit because we spend too much. If we want to cut down on the federal deficit, federal debt, then the federal government needs to stop spending.
Both things are true.
Taxes burden the people. The reason why things were going down with Bush is because we got hit by a terrorist. That put everything into a downward spiral. And the only thing that kept us out of going into a depression were those tax cuts.
Wrong.
Because that may put more money into people's pockets.
What do you think will happen with that?
People spend that money, it spurs the economy.
The Democrats have begun to talk in Congress about possibly leaving some of those taxes, that tax relief in place.
Let them expire.
Let them go.
Period.
Let it expire.
Let it expire.
All right, gentlemen, we appreciate that. Final quick words here on the Shirley Sherrod lawsuit against Andrew Breitbart.
About time somebody sued that fellow. I mean, you know, he was the one responsible for the snow job on Acorn, killing off the Acorn subsidies in Congress by putting a really libelous attack on those people.
Is this a libel in your view?
I don't know. The whole thing that stopped the Acorn funding is because you had two individuals who went into several Acorn offices and had video.
That was a setup?
It doesn't matter if it was a setup. The fact that those Acorn officials agreed to break the law on camera.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. But with this lady,
I've got to run, gentlemen. I've got to run.
Lies, half-truths. Keep on saying it louder and louder.
It's not going to go anywhere, because as a political person, you unfortunately can't really say much.
I gotta go.
Hope she wins.
Godfrey Leggett and David Bellow, thanks so much, gentlemen. We appreciate it. More Southeast Texas coming up in just a moment with Beaumont Councilman Jamie Smith. Stay with us.